Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Red Steak. It's that time of the week where I go over my NFL predictions for each game. Let's get started with a Thursday night opener tomorrow between the Lions and the Chiefs. The Chiefs being 6.5 point favorites, but as of recently, with the Kelsey news, has come down to as low as 4.5. The Lions are coming off with great momentum based on how last season ended with them winning at Green Bay, being one spot out of the playoffs. The offense under their OC Ben Johnson was great, and the Lions spent some money in free agency and the draft to upgrade their defense, specifically their secondary, which was the weakest link of their team last year. I expect the Lions to improve this year. Now they also get good news with what's going on with the Chiefs recently. So with star defensive tackle Chris Jones out, and now elite tight end Travis Kelsey being questionable right now, but probably out for the game, or not, definitely not 100%. Um, then the Lions honestly should win this game, despite Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes having a great track record in early September games. Receivers like Kadarius Toney, Sky Moore, Marcus Valdes-Scantling, they gotta play out of their minds and help out Mahomes if the Chiefs are going to survive in this game, in my opinion. Um, but I don't think they will. So therefore, I have Detroit winning. I have them winning 24-20. Okay, now for the Sunday games, we'll start with the Panthers versus the Falcons. Both of these teams have some things to be excited about, but also some question marks as well. For this game specifically, star pass rusher Brian Burns for the Panthers might be out because of a contract dispute, as we've been seeing throughout the league. I just talked about Chris Jones and his contract dispute. And then the Panthers' offensive line, at least during the preseason, was awful. And I know they can improve on that, but I feel like it's going to be hard to improve on that for the third preseason games and then week one of the regular season. I feel like it's not enough time to improve there, especially when you have a small rookie quarterback behind that offensive line. Now for Atlanta, there's some question marks as well. Like, what does Bijan Robinson look like in this offense? With a full off season to know you're the guy. How does Desmond Ridder look? Those are valid questions. And I do think the Falcons will have some hiccups of their own, but they at home will make enough plays to get the divisional win, in my opinion. So I have them winning 19-13. The Bengals versus the Browns. All signs point to Burrow being healthy now and is fine, ready to go in this game. For some reason, though, the Browns have had the Bengals number, and since they started off slow last year, I can see where the Bengals start slow again with Burrow coming off the injury, not getting as much preseason or training camp reps as he normally would. And then also the Browns, as long as they continue to run the ball, Nick Chubb and bleed clock and all that, so it means less possessions for Burrow and the high-powered offense. I do think the Browns can pull out win here. I have them winning 21-20. Jags versus the Colts. Jags are right by 5 here. A lot of people look at this as a trap game for the Jags. Going on the road to a divisional rival and playing a rookie quarterback and a rookie head coach is a little bit tricky because it's hard to know how exactly things will play out because you don't know what to potentially expect. I think in Richardson's first start, especially since he's a raw player, you'll see obviously some good things from him, but I do think you'll see a lot of shaky things from him as well since he's not the most accurate passer. And that will get the Jags to win to start the season on the good note. I have the Jags winning 28-16. Bucks versus Vikings. The Vikings are favored by 6. I feel the Vikings offense, despite no Dalvin Cook here, with Madison being their top running back now, will be good once again. So then it comes down to, can the Vikings defense stop Baker Mayfield in the Tampa Bay offense? Since Brian Flores is the new defense coordinator now for the Vikings, I expect him to throw some curveballs that can stump the Bucks offense to get the Vikings a win. I have Minnesota winning 27-17. Titans versus Saints. This is a really not a great matchup for the Titans, in my opinion. They're a run-heavy offense. The Saints are really good at stopping the run, at least they have been over the past couple years. So the Saints defense, in my opinion, will do their job. So then where things lie is on the Saints offense. Can they do enough against a good Tennessee front seven to score enough points to win the game, especially with no Alvin Kamara for this game? So Jamal Williams will be the starter for them coming over for Detroit. I think they can get the win though there, and I have Saints winning 20-16, so barely covering, but I wouldn't bet on that game. 49ers versus Steelers. Assuming Brock Purdy played the way he did last season, I like this 49ers team a lot. I think, barring injuries, they maybe could be the number one seed this time around, definitely. However, I think for this game one, though, I feel like things may go south for them. For starters, they're playing all the way on the East Coast on an early kickoff window, which that's typically tough for West Coast teams. Then Pittsburgh's defense is super tough. It can cause problems for a younger quarterback like Purdy. Then you potentially have no George Kittle because he's questionable to play. So I think the 49ers will start flat. Then maybe they make things interesting towards the end and get Steelers fans nervous. But the Steelers will survive game one after winning 17-13. Cardinals versus Commanders. Commanders survive by 7. The Arizona Cardinals are starting journeyman Joshua Dobbs as their quarterback. Dobbs started a couple games for the Titans to finish the season last year. I doubt, he will have success against a good Washington defense. So it comes down to, can Sam Howell and his second career start play well enough and not screw things up to allow Arizona to remain in the game. I feel in this game he can play clean football so the Commanders can get the win after winning 19-6. Texans versus Ravens. Rookie quarterback C.J. Stroud has a tall task going against a very interesting Baltimore team. Houston has one of the worst offensive lines of the league, which concerns me. And even if Texans do find a way to score on offense, can they simply just outscore the Ravens? Their offense is the question. The good news for the Texans, that with so many new receivers and having a new offensive coordinator, we could see what we saw in college football with a lot of teams, except for Deion Sanders' team, where since there's a lot of new players in that receiving core, maybe things don't, and then having a new offensive coordinator, maybe things are not right, maybe things don't gel smoothly like they should, which then they could look rusty and weird, and therefore allows Texans to remain in the game for a little bit. Because I would like to say Texans covered the 10 point spread there, but the only hesitation for me is that heavy favorites in the NFL, especially last season, typically don't cover, if not sometimes even lose. So in this case, I will roll with Houston. I'll roll with Baltimore to barely cover, in my opinion. I've them winning 17-6. Packers versus Bears. Now this game is this is one of the hardest games for me to predict here because I just do not know what to expect here. Jordan Love versus Justin Fields both have tons of pressures on them. This comes down to how improved the Bears defense from last year will be, in my opinion. If they are improved enough to where they can, attack a good Packers offensive line and make Jordan not have as clean of a pocket to throw from as he did in the preseason, for example, they can maybe force Love to make some mistakes, and that can get the Bears some momentum there. That's what they did against Trey Lance in his first start last year. Plus, both the Packers' top 2 receivers, Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs, have hamstring injuries. So if it's questionable that they play, and if they do play, they may not be 100%. So I do think the Bears will finally beat their division rival with no Rodgers there anymore. So I'm winning barely 16-14. Raiders versus Broncos. Broncos favored by 3.5. The Sean Payton Russell Wilson era will begin with a game against a divisional opponent. Now, I do think this game will remain somewhat close because the Broncos have some question marks on the offensive line and the Raiders have a good pass rush. However, I don't think a Jimmy Garoppolo-led offense will do much against a good Broncos defense. We saw last season Jimmy Garoppolo struggle against this Broncos defense back when he was on a better team and a better coach with the 49ers. So therefore, the Broncos should start the season off right with a win this time. So they're winning 20-10. Eagles -4 versus Patriots. A lot of people have the Eagles on upset alert here. A lot of people betting the Patriots there. Going to Foxborough in a game where they're celebrating Tom Brady is not ideal for the Eagles. Now, I do think the Patriots defense won't stop, but I do think they can contain the Eagles offense for sure. But the problem is with Mac Jones and a bad receiving core, basically, to go against a great Philly defense, I just feel like they won't be able to do much against a great Philly defense. So for me, I'm going against the popular opinion here, and I'm going to get the Eagles not only win but cover. So they're winning 17-10. Dolphins versus Chargers. Chargers 3-point favorites here. As you remember, back in the draft in 2020, the Dolphins took Tua Herbert with the 5th pick, and the Chargers took Justin Herbert with the 6th pick. So there's always that comparison between the two. This is one of the biggest games of the weekend, in my opinion. While both of the defenses should be improved, expect this game to be a shootout, in my opinion. Both offenses fully healthy can have the full playbook at their disposal. In a game where both rosters are good, I look at which quarterback do I trust more, and I think Herbert will do just a little bit more than Tua, in my opinion. So the Chargers get the big one after winning in a high-scoring game, 34-31. Next, you got the Rams versus Seahawks. Seahawks are 5-point favorites. If Rams fans are hoping for a better start to this season, then they may be disappointed. Yes, Aaron Donald's back to help the defensive line. Yes, quarterback Matthew Stafford's back, but Cooper Kupp is out for this week, and the Rams don't have a lot of proven guys at the receiver position. Plus, as one of the younger teams in the league, I feel like you may see some sloppiness here, and the Seahawks get the win and cover, so I have them winning 20-9. Now you got a Sunday night football game between the Cowboys, who are 3.5-point favorites, and the Giants. A lot of people want to see how Mike McCarthy calling plays, um, and how Dak Prescott and this offense will look. Will Prescott continue throwing interceptions, or is that just a fluke last year because he usually doesn't? And for Giants fans, they got star running back Saquon Barkley back for at least this year, which is good. The problem is, besides trading for tight end Darren Waller, the receiver position is still not great. And now Daniel Jones got the bag, so we'll see how he's going to look. Because typically, when quarterbacks get the bag, they typically don't perform as well as they should have, unless you're like actually really good quarterback, like Mahomes or Allen Herbert or something like that. Um, it'll be hard for Dable to kind of bubble wrap Jones like he did last season. So I do think the Cowboys defense will create enough havoc to where they get to force some turnovers on Jones and get a big win on the road. By the way, Dalen Jones has never beaten the Cowboys when Dak Prescott has been the starter, by the way. So I have the Cowboys winning 24-17. And then last but not least, you got Monday Night Football between the Bills, who are 2.5-point favorites, and the Jets. A great Monday Night Football game to start the season. A lot of people want to see how Aaron Rodgers and his offense looks against the back-to-back division winner Buffalo Bills. Also, a lot of people want to see how Josh Allen does against a great Jets defense, since in both meetings last year, Allen kind of struggled against them. Usually, Aaron Rodgers is not great in week one, and I would stay away from picking him in week one. But with him being at home, and with all the hype going on and all that, and I feel all that hype and energy, and all that would just be infused into the team. It's just one of those things where, like, that alone would, I feel like, can get them the win in this game. And despite the Jets having their offensive line concerns and stuff like that, luckily for the Jets, Von Miller's not going to be playing for the Bills, which helps. So I have the Jets winning barely 19-17. So thank you very much for listening to my podcast today. Please subscribe to my channel to learn about me. In my podcast later this week, I'm also going to go over my Week 2 college football predictions, so stay tuned for that. Thank you very much. You have a wonderful day.